Hi, everyone. Kate Byers, founder of the Good Life Institute and creator of Corporate Women Unleashed. And today we are talking in our series of Is It Possible? We had a great question submitted to us, which is it possible to recover from burnout and stay in the same career, right? Okay, so I love this question. And the answer is yes. But let's talk first about burnout. There's a lot of different reasons to burn out, right? We could be burnout because we just have too much going on in our life overall. We could burn out because we have a huge stressor, like let's just say an aging parent or something that is being added to our plate. But the burnout that we are typically dealing with is as you climb higher into the corporate ladder or into more senior levels in your career, whether you have gone from being a resident, now you're a surgeon, going from being a mid-level player in a sales field to now you're top of the sales, that apex type of role where you've really made it, you're successful on paper, but the pressure to stay there is killing you. Okay. And for women, what we see a lot is a couple of different reasons. A lot of times as women, we don't know how to go in and influence our workplace. So if you're a high achiever and you're very driven and you're ambitious, like myself, we tend to rise up very quickly through the ranks. We're usually the first one to get the promoted, the first one to get the extra assignment, the first. We're quick, we're sharp, we think on our feet, and we fly up the ladder, so to speak. So what can happen is you develop these habits of how you created that success, right? You guys have heard me talk about this before. So there's this collection of habits like, I'm going to work harder than everybody in the room. While everyone else is taking vacation, I won't take vacation. I'll be the person that volunteers for all the hard jobs, right? And so we develop what I'm going to call these workhorse approach to success, and it works. Hey, like, who doesn't like the workhorse? You know what I mean? Like, that's exciting. When you give the workhorse a project, when you give them a challenge or an initiative, they're going to get it done and they're going to be amazing at it. Okay. So that's one of the things that could burn us out, is that we have developed habits where we are just constantly anteing up for the next project. And we tend to, as high achievers, put off any sort of relief because we have a very high threshold for pain. Right? Like, does anyone ever tell you, put this in the comments, put an A in the comment if this happens, like, I don't know how you do it. Wow, how do you get all that done and still, like, you're just fabulous. Everyone just thinks you're amazing and you're fabulous and you're incredible. And it feels really good to hear that. I mean, obviously, but after a while, it's not so much of a compliment, if you know what I mean. It's like, I would hear that and I'd be like, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea what's going on inside, because inside I don't feel so fabulous. And so it's really about rewiring. There's a lot of psychological work in managing and learning to overcome burnout if you want to solve for it in a way that really gives you freedom. Because what happens is the way we solve burnout is we run from it. We give up, we move to an island, which is what I did, or you take a sabbatical, or you get a job at the company across the street, or, and so what happens is when we do those external things, they can lighten you up. They certainly can be wonderful in the moment. There's nothing more titillating than starting a new job, right? Ooh, fresh slate, fresh start, so exciting. Until you find yourself in the same pot of boiling water pretty soon, right? There was nothing more exciting for me than moving to the island. Oh my God, like I was just like giving away everything I ever had. And I was like, I'm gonna go live on an island. I don't care anymore. Okay, until you wake up and you care and you're like, okay, this didn't really solve the problem, because, we can, always say, what's the saying? Like, people don't leave companies, they leave bad bosses or whatever. Why? There's always a bad boss. There's always some stinky pants you have to work with, whether it's a colleague or, whoever, right? There's always going to be an empty suit. There's always going to be a boss who's not a great leader. Those things happen. And the more senior you get, the more you're having to deal with a lot of those issues. And so what women forget, and what women have not been trained to do, and what women don't naturally do as well, is influence. Okay. And what I mean by that is, rather than doing all the work, you influence the work, you influence the workload. So if you're burned out because of workload, what a lot of women will do is like, I'll go talk to my boss and tell him I need a break. Well, some bosses are really kind and understanding, but at some point your boss is like, and are you going to start working again? Or you can develop a reputation for being someone who, is struggling to keep up. And some of those things that, it's good to have an honest conversation with your boss, but there's other times when it's like, we also want to step back and look at, how that could potentially affect us. And the problem is that women, when you're in this habit, this cycle of always being a workaholic, is you are going to burn yourself out. It's like running a marathon and like never getting a, drink of water or something, right? So what happens is if we don't change, if we don't rewire, we don't work on having a different, it's really a mental and emotional and a strategic relationship with our work. So there's a mental rewiring. So we have to have new ideas and new beliefs about how to create success. There's an emotional rewiring. We have to feel differently, because when you are starting to influence, when you're starting to discuss things like boundaries and tough communication and some of the things that come in with being an influencer, there's emotion around it. And so if you don't have a new emotional relationship with your work, then you're just going to crater and go running right back to your old habits. And then obviously there are some new strategies, like how should I communicate when, whatever, I need to put up a boundary, or how do I communicate to a poor boss and manage upwards and help that boss, be a better boss and things like that. So there's definitely strategies. But what you don't want to do is just do the strategies. I did that for a long time. I shucked and I jived and I went this way and I went this way and I tried this and I tried that. What I wasn't changing was me. And I didn't realize this until I finally burned out, hit the wall, walked away, gave it all up, and moved to an island. And guess what happened? It all followed me. Here I was on this island. We were working for some friends who had a dive shop. And I was terrified of driving the boat. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm going to crash this boat. I'm going to kill someone. I'm going to kill someone. Oh my God, like just festering about the dive boat. Why? Because I was bad at it in the beginning, just like you are at anything. But so you've gone from being this high flying, very comfortable in your role, VIP, and as high achievers, we hate failure. And now all of a sudden I'm driving a dive boat and I'm failing and I look stupid and I'm embarrassed and I hate failing and I'm miserable. Like miserable. And then we had this little dive shop that we were supposed to, you throw some little t-shirts and sunglasses and whatever in there. And it was like 5x7 on this little tiny, key that we worked on that I was supposed to, oversee. I was supposed to like keep it stocked. Like that was all I had to do as my little job. And no, not me. I'm like, we need to re-merchandise those sunglasses. They're taking up way too shelf space. And I think we need to bring in some more, mask spray, and we need pink tank tops. Can we get some pink tank tops in here? It was like, oh dear God, Kate. Like I could not stop. And my husband's like, we're on a beach in a very beautiful place. How about we go swimming? And I'm like, yeah, be right there. I got to get the tank tops hung up, and it's like, okay, guys, it's just going to follow you. I don't care if you're sitting at home just drooling, watching TV. That'll last for about a week on your sabbatical. And then you'll be like, doing home improvement projects. So the problem with those external things is if it's an internal piece, it's these habits and behaviors and this relationship you have as a workaholic, as a high achiever with your job, it doesn't change. You can change industries, you can change jobs, you can change bosses, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter. Now, what if it is you're burning out because of the culture of the company, not just one person, because there's, if you got to deal with some stinky pants, you got to deal with the male dominated culture, whatever, that's fine. Those things are all dealable once you do the rewiring I talked about. But let's just say it's endemic. It's like the entire culture of the company is just really toxic. And I don't mean 24/7 cultures, because a lot of our clients work in like management consulting, they're executives, they're working 70 hours a week. Like that's not going to necessarily change, they're working a lot of hours, or they're working in cultures that demand a lot of you. But I'm talking about a really toxic culture, people who are yelling and screaming at each other, people who are backstabbing and just doing a lot of that really icky politics stuff, which is just unnecessary. That is probably something when you say, well, if you burn out because of that, can you recover? Well, you can, but why would you? Like we were talking about this today with some clients, and I was like, if the culture is that, if you're having to work around a leadership team that really treats people poorly, like, yelling in the hallway and that type of stuff, I think those are one of those things where you're like, maybe I should exit, maybe this is just going to be a bridge job for now. And I don't need to be quite so emotionally attached to it, because there's just times, guys, where the company's great, but a new management team comes in, or the job was great, but once you get, higher up into management and you see how they treat each other, it may not be a great fit for you. It may cause you such stress to be around people like that. It's probably better to move on, right? I would say, in our experience, a lot of our clients come to us going, I gotta pull the trigger. Can't do this one more day. I'm out. I'm leaving my job. I'm just like, because when you start to burn out, you just become apathetic. Like, you're just like, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the lifestyle. I don't care if I ruin my reputation. I don't care. I just want to go in the woods and like darn socks. I'm done. Right. Like, that's really what burnout feels like. You just stop caring, because biologically, the amount of stress you've been under, your body just can't handle it. And so your body's now saying, hello, you have to do something about the stress. Wake up. And it just starts detaching you from things that you formerly cared about, right? Like your reputation, your paycheck, and your lifestyle. But I would say the majority of our clients, about 70% of our clients, maybe even higher. I'm trying to be conservative, so I'm not, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I will say the majority of our clients come in and they either are in a job that they love and they want it to stop being so stressful and overtaking them so they can have a very high quality personal life, or they're at a precipice where they're like, I got to leave. You don't understand. Like, this is my last shot. Like, I'm getting ready to leave. And I'm just going to give it all up, just like you did, Kate. And we're like, no, don't do that. Just wait, just give it a try. Just see. And most of those people and most of those women end up staying. They're like, oh my God, it's not as bad as I was making it out to be. It was me. Now that I'm learning to influence, now that I'm learning to create a different environment around me, because here's the other thing that's interesting. When we change our beliefs, when we change how we show up, when we change our communication, when we change our energy, when we change our framing, there's a lot of these changes that you can make, again, mentally, emotionally, and then strategically. People around you change. Like, we don't realize this is what's so great about understanding human behavior. It's like you've got the inside scoop on everybody around you when you really understand human behavior at its core, because people are just reacting to you. Like, for example, a real common challenge for high achievers is we tend to attract weaker people or codependent people, right? Like, how many of you, put a B in the comments, are like, oh my God, there's someone in your life where like, they always need something from me. Would they just go do their own damn work? They're always at your door. They're always calling you. They're always leaning at you, either in your personal life, your professional life. That is so common for high achievers. And the reason is A, we're going to show up and we're going to save them. We're always the hero who comes in. B, we're strong, we're confident. We come off as people who really have it all. And so people who don't have it all want to be in your aura because they're trying to figure out what you're doing, and or they're not meaning to. I mean, it's not a conscious act on their part. They're trying to soak some of that up and get you to help them have a better experience in life, or a better, do better at their job. So one of the things that happens is that when you stop acting and behaving in the way you do as this workaholic, as this workhorse, as this person who has all the answers, it forces others to think more on their own, to be more independent, to have to really stand up for themselves, and be responsible for their own life and their own decisions. And those people go away. Magic, right? Like magic. And then the people who want to be around you are A players who are self-assured, confident, who are also centered and are no longer, trying to prove themselves to keep their seat at the table and have all the anxiety and the stuff like that. And it's just so great. And so that's like just one simple example of how, when you start to rewire, that burnout goes away, that feeling of, oh, I just have no more passion for my job. I just don't care. Let me just quit my job and watch soap operas for the rest of my life. Like, all of that goes away because all of a sudden the spark comes back. You're surrounded by interesting people again. Not everyone's leaning on you. You do have a shoulder to lean on. You're in a collaborative and more influential type of environment, not because your job changed, not because your boss changed, not because your company changed, because you changed. Okay. And that's the magic of it. That's really the freedom. Like, for me, when I think about unlocking the gilded cage, I tried all those other things, leaving the cage, changing jobs. I went from, ad agency to client side, and then client side to, well, maybe I need to work in international, and maybe I need to travel. Maybe I don't need to travel. Maybe I need to work 9 to 5. Maybe I need to work 10 to 4, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I need a calendar. Maybe I need to cook. You try all these things external to you, right? And then you're like, okay, I still feel like I'm freaking out all the time. I'm still exhausted. The pace is excruciating. You come home and you're zapped. You've got no energy to put anything else in your life. And it's like, this stinks, right? And so you can either walk away from all that, or you can learn to rewire yourself and learn a new way to create success, right? And that's what's so exciting. And that's what we teach. How can we teach success without suffering? Because suffering's a choice. So can you recover from burnout and stay in the same career? Absolutely. And even if the burnout has, people in your work know that you've burned out, or it's known that you've burned out. People are human. Like, they want you to recover. They want you to do well. Everybody wants, like, the, what do you call it? The, not the underdog. It's not an underdog, like the comeback story. There you go. It's the comeback story. You know what I mean? Like, because everyone else is walking around going, oh my God, I'm so burnt out. So that comeback story is great. And it's really genius when you have a chance to do that, because that shows a greater level of leadership in itself. And people are like, wow, how did you do that? You're amazing, right? You get to be a role model. You get to show people how it's done. I mean, you're doing it for yourself, but you can really shine and come back from burnout, which is pretty cool. So I hope this answers your question. It was a brilliant one. Thank you so much for asking. If anyone else has a question, is it possible? We're doing a whole series this month on, is it possible? Fill in the blank, ladies, to what is it? What is your pressing issue for, burnout, sacrificing for your success? If you're at that precipice of saying, oh my God, I got to just leave my company. I got to leave my job. Don't step back. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't give up. You've worked too hard, right? Let's just up level and learn a whole new way of working. You went back to school, got an MBA, didn't you? Or, you got a college degree, you went to God knows what leadership, development program or somebody your company sent you to. This is just the next level of development, right? And more women need to be doing this, guys, because we do need to be at the top. We do need to be in leadership positions right next to very talented men need to be very talented women. So it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. All right. It's been great speaking with you guys.